My mother-in-law is like a parasite, right? And like a leeching freeloader. I couldn't even force a smile as my one sweet daughter-in-law, Natalie, and my own son, Harry, ridiculed me in front of our relatives. Harry has changed since marrying Natalie. Or maybe his true colors are just showing now. Somehow, I'd become disliked by both of them. Ellie's absolutely right. My mother-in-law clapped gleefully. Here I am not working because I'm taking care of her, and instead of gratitude, I get this treatment? I wonder if there's any point in me being in this house. I guess I'll quit being a mom then. I blurted it out without thinking. What? Everyone in this house harbors selfish secrets. I've been a piece of this family, but the very moment there's the lack of that piece, it'll all start to fall apart. I'm Mirabelle, a homemaker in her 50s. I was thrilled when my only son got engaged. I'm Natalie. Since my parents divorced and I don't have a mom, I'm so happy to have a real mother now. That's what she said when we first met, all bright and cheery. She's a decade younger than Harry, still in her early 20s. Such a lively and honest girl. Later, Natalie invited me out for a meal. It was close to Mother's Day, and she said it was a celebration. We enjoyed a meal at a slightly fancy French restaurant, where I even heard some complaints about Harry. It seemed like Natalie and I could really become like a real mother and daughter. But when it came time to pay, neither Natalie nor Harry made any move to open their wallets. I don't want you to hold back. Eat whatever you like, Italy had said at the start, so I had assumed they were treating me. I hurriedly paid the bill. That was delicious. Thanks for the meal, Mirabelle. Yeah, it was great. Let's do this again sometime. Next time, let's have pizza. Harry never once asked me out for a meal for Mother's Day. Well, I felt a bit uneasy. At least thoughtfulness genuinely made me happy. Then, as the wedding preparations progressed, they made an unexpected proposal. Can we live with you, Mom? I was astounded by the sudden suggestion of moving in together. I never thought a daughter-in-law would want to live with her in-laws, not in the past nor now. I had lived with my husband's parents when I got married, so I knew how hard it could be. But it was a decision made after discussing with Harry, and Natalie was eager too. That's when I consulted my husband. He wouldn't look at me and didn't say a word. Since he didn't seem upset, I guess that means it's okay. Also, my mother-in-law lives with us in our home. She was all for Harry and Natalie moving in. She's always doted on her grandson Harry, so it's a natural reaction. Tom, my husband, is a traditional patriarch, a commanding figure. He's someone to be respected. And his mother, my mother-in-law, she's like a deity. If these two agree, I don't have any right to object. However, there's just one little problem in our house. Another bland and tasteless meal. When are you ever gonna grow as a homemaker? This is the usual scene at mealtime. During meals, my mother-in-law always sighs heavily and makes snide remarks. The bland taste of the food is due to me being considerate of her illness. I care for my mother-in-law, who has trouble walking, day and night, often waking up to assist her to the bathroom. And I drive her to the hospital 3 times a week. I work tirelessly for her day and night, yet my efforts are never acknowledged. I talked to Tom about it. What if we have your mom go to a day rehabilitation a few times a week? She could make friends, and it'd be a nice change of pace. Tom didn't respond. He just glared at me for a mere 2 seconds, then turned his back without a word. In other words, the answer was no. When I got married, the male priority atmosphere was still in the air at home unit. Some various forms of harassment and strict discipline weren't really questioned back then. Times have changed, but Tom and his mother's mindset is still stuck in the past. I secretly have hopes for Natalie. She might bring a new breeze into our home. Having struggled with mother-in-law issues myself, I don't want my daughter-in-law to go through the same. I'll protect my precious Natalie from my mother-in-law. If I'm careful, we should be able to build a good relationship. And so, with Harry and Natalie joining, life for our family of 5 began. Hey Mirabelle, Natalie approached me, flustered, first thing in the morning. At the laundry, "This is unbelievable. What's wrong? Why did you wash my clothes with your husband's? It's disgusting. I can't stand it. Wash them again." Which reaction, even if you rewash them, it feels gross. Natalie was ranting while I hung the laundry. "Oh, sorry about that. Please wash my clothes separately. I'd rather not even share the same washing machine." I guess washing clothes with a middle-aged man who was a stranger until recently might be off-putting. I realized I hadn't been considerate enough, but I never expected Natalie to be so particular. She usually just throws her underwear and fancy clothes in the laundry basket, leaving socks and pants wherever. It's better than being awkwardly considerate, right? I had Petri a Sophie's section. I had my thoughts about Natalie's attitude, but I convinced myself that she was opening up to me. But Natalie's attitude feels different from just relying on her mom. "Hey Mirabelle, can you make my lunchbox more colorful?" If you look on the internet, you can find pictures of cute lunchboxes. Please do your homework. I'm embarrassed by these old-fashioned lunchboxes. I've been making lunchboxes for Natalie to take to work every morning at her request. I was thanked only the first time. Now it's all complaints like, "Don't use those tacky aluminum cups," or "the simmered broccoli is the worst." She always demands a lunchbox that looks good in photos, not just for Natalie, but apparently I'm expected to put the same effort into Harry's lunchbox too. Harry seems content as long as his stomach's full, but I still make carrot shapes into hearts, as Natalie wants. I have to prioritize my daughter-in-law's feelings. It's natural for a young person like her to have different tastes, so I should be the one to adjust. First, the laundry, cooking. Everything around the house is left to me, increasing my workload since they moved in. I felt awkward entering the couple's bedroom without permission, but on the 3rd day of living together, Lily scolded me. "Don't you think you should clean our room without being told? You're a full-time housewife, right? Cleaning is your job, isn't it?" What are you slacking off for? This is why people who don't work outside are no good. Harry and I are working hard outside, so you should at least take care of the house. It's only been a week since Natalie moved in, and I'm already exhausted. My mother-in-law, whom I was worried about, is lenient with her cute granddaughter-in-law. Sometimes she calls Natalie to her room and gives her some pocket money. Fairly, despite my resolve to protect Natalie from my mother-in-law, the two have become quite close. Yuck, today's dinner is inedible again. It's sad to see Grandma eat such bland food just because she's sick. Isn't that discrimination? Mirabelle, you're so mean. Here, Grandma, use some tomato ketchup. And Natalie, you're so kind. Compared to that demonic wife, you look like a goddess. I'm so grateful. Just a month into living together, it's like there are two mothers-in-law making snide remarks, and I feel more and more alienated. Natalie comes home from work, dropping her bag in the hallway, her jacket in the corridor, and her rolled-up tights in the living room. Yet she points out any chores I haven't done. Then, there are dishes in the sink. Oh, why are there laundry on the sofa? I come home tired. Where am I supposed to relax? Picks on the floor? Are you saying I should just sit on the floor? I gather the laundry from the sofa. Sorry. I got held up at the hospital today and couldn't get around to the housework. So you're blaming Grandma? Poor Grandma. And Harry, who'd already returned home, joined in. You've always been cold to Grandma, haven't you? What? I was shocked by Harry's words. I've been caring for my mother-in-law since Harry was in middle school. Christy caring for her, sharp in mind but physically impaired, was tough and drained me both physically and mentally. But I never neglected her, and I certainly never complained or showed weakness in front of Harry. Grandma used to secretly give me cake, saying it's just between us because she couldn't eat it. She thanked me for helping with her care, praising me and taking me to concerts of my favorite singers as a reward. You were always clever with your words, making Grandma feel left out and skipping out on her care. Yeah, I get it. She looks kind, but inside she's dark and twisted. No, that's not true. I want to deny it, but I can't find my voice. I can't believe Harry thought that way. Because Harry, like Tom, has always been taciturn and barely spoke with me since his teenage years. That the added burden of caring for my mother-in-law, I was anxious it would only widen the distance between Harry and me. But when the care was new and tough, especially getting my mother-in-law up, Harry silently lent a hand. Despite his gruffness, I believed Harry was kind and cared for me and his grandmother. What is he thinking in his silence? I've always wished we could talk more. Now influenced by Natalie, Harry has become chatty, a completely different person than the one I knew. Now he joins Natalie in pointing and laughing at me. Speaking of which, I'm hungry. Mirabelle, what's for dinner tonight? I'll whip up something quickly. As I rush to the kitchen, Natalie's voice pierces my back. I can't believe it. Ray's hungry too. He's tired from working outside. You just don't understand how people feel after a long day's work. Yeah, you're right. Harry responds with a wry smile, glancing upward. I briefly hope he hesitates to belittle me, but he quickly starts laughing. You're a full-time housewife and can't even handle simple chores properly. How many years have you been a mom? Useless. Their words are harsh. I feel dizzy with anger, but more than that, I can't accept that Harry has changed so much. Oh, gotta tell you, Maria Bell. Natalie says cheerfully, not with her usual sarcasm. We're having a birthday party this Sunday, so count on you. Natalie continues proudly. It's Grandma's birthday. You were forgetting, weren't you? That's terrible. Of course. I remember her birthday. But despite her grumbles about not needing celebrations at her age, I've quietly marked the occasion every year. If I didn't, it would just be another problem. When I ask my mother-in-law, she's almost skipping with excitement, clearly thrilled. Natalie said she's going to celebrate my birthday. She's inviting all my sisters and nieces. Ollie's different, you know? Much more thoughtful than you. Like the birthday party for my mother-in-law was decided without my input. It's already this coming Sunday. Why didn't they tell me earlier when I'm the one doing all the preparations? You're just a housewife with plenty of time, so one day should be enough, right? Elise smirks maliciously. And comes Sunday, the day of the birthday party. Natalie greets relatives with her charming smile. Just a month ago, I liked her smile. Her charming smile. Just a month ago, I liked her smile. Why has everything changed? I sigh while frying chicken nuggets, not feeling up to joining the lively scene in the living room. Come on! The Mirabelle. Everyone's gathered. You at least have to serve drinks. Oh, I didn't realize. Sorry. Just as I thought Natalie came into the kitchen, she sharply reprimands me. It almost seemed like Natalie was the competent mother around here. She carried just one beer bottle, cheerfully announcing, "Sorry to keep you waiting," as she returned to the living room. I followed her, struggling to carry a load of beers. The strength I gained from years of caregiving came in handy. Thanks everyone for gathering today for Grandma's birthday. Happy birthday, Grandma! Natalie led the merry celebration. Actually, the feast I managed to prepare in time was spread out on the table, bringing smiles to our relatives' faces. Naturally, everyone got drunk smoothly. Harry sure married a great wife. Just throwing a birthday party for Grandma. That's so thoughtful. Hey, it's because Grandma's always been nice to me. She's a rare find these days, a well-brought-up daughter-in-law. No wonder you all get along so well living together. If only being praised was always this easy, just by suggesting a birthday party. Natalie, buoyed by the mood and the alcohol, started openly belittling me in front of our relatives. But you know, the problem is with Mirabel here. Her gaze meaningfully shifted to me. She's like a parasite, you know. I'd endured thoughtless remarks before, but this was beyond anything else. At Securiat, a relative nearby choked on their beer, coughing. Adelie, pleasantly tipsy, didn't seem to care. I mean, she doesn't work, And still, laundry is left out at night and the meals. Such a slacker, right? Harry, his cheeks flushed, chimed in. Yeah, what's the point of a full-time housewife if she doesn't do the housework? Mom's like a leeching freeloader or something. Being ridiculed in front of our relatives. I couldn't even force a smile. Am I really that incompetent? If a stay-at-home mom who doesn't earn money is a parasite or a leech, then I guess I have no defense. Even a grade schooler could do cleaning and cooking. Oh, Natalie's absolutely right. The main woman at the birthday party, my mother-in-law, clapped gleefully. I glanced at Tom, who seemed disinterested, as if in another world, simply continuing his meal. What's the point of me being here? Then I guess I'll quit being a mom. I blurted out without thinking. What? Glee and Harry said in unison. They were exchanging smirks. Go ahead, Harry said jokingly, and Natalie couldn't help but burst into laughter. Harry and Natalie seemed oblivious to the awkwardness of the situation, and the mood among the relatives seemed to sober up instantly. My spirit felt as cold as ice. I thought I was protecting this home, being a wife and a mother. I finally realized that everything I did was in vain. After being ridiculed to this extent, I couldn't bring myself to make their lunches tomorrow. So no more being the convenient mother. As I stood up to leave, the relatives looked at me worriedly, but I didn't care and headed straight to my room to pack my things. I'm leaving now. No way, for real. I'm gonna miss you. Narrably. Take care. Truth be told, my hands were trembling. I was just a weak woman trying to escape. Having impulsively left the house, I found myself unsure of where to go. So long ago, shortly after I started caring for my mother-in-law, there was a divorce uproar. Fed with her sarcasm and Tom's indifference. I wanted to leave, but my parents didn't allow me to return home. It's not like he's beating you or not providing for you, right? My mother had said, not seeing it as a significant problem. A man not being a drunkard or in debt was considered a good husband. I guess I had no choice but to go back home. I decided, but my steps were heavy. Surprisingly, my parents welcomed me warmly. Naribel, are you okay? You look so worn out. My mother's wrinkled hands gently caressed my face. Glancing sideways, I saw my reflection in the hallway mirror, looking like an old woman. My cheeks were sunken, my eyes hollow, and my back unnaturally hunched. I was appalled at the ugliness, unrecognizable for someone in their 50s. I told my parents about what happened at home. I had gotten used to my mother-in-law's sarcasm and Tom being virtually absent. But being treated so dismissively by Harry and Natalie, and the gap between my expectations and reality, was too much to bear. You being tormented by your daughter-in-law instead of the other way around. Wow, times have changed. My mother laughed. I'm sorry for coming back at this age. Don't worry about it. You've been enduring a lot. You've lost so much weight. We should have let you divorce earlier. We regret not accepting it before. This time, we're on your side. Mirabelle, None. I realized I had a place to belong. That alone was a huge relief. I had no idea that Natalie and the others would soon find themselves in a predicament. About 3 weeks after I left, Harry called. "Hey, Dad's being annoying. He keeps asking us about paying money for the household. Can you do something?" Right before they moved in, we discussed how Harry and Natalie would manage their living expenses. But Tom, with his arms crossed, had said, "Don't need it." Maybe it was his fatherly pride not to take money from his son. But now, asking for money suddenly, there must be a special reason. Apparently, right after I left, there was a dispute over who would do the housework. Of course, Tom wouldn't do it. Tom obviously expected Natalie to take care of the housework. But Natalie wasn't willing to do it either. And with my mother-in-law's limited mobility, she couldn't help. So the task fell to Harry, who was in the weakest position. I was actually doing the cleaning and laundry, you know? But Harry but Natalie and Grandma kept complaining about wrinkled clothes and not wanting store-bought food. So, I tried hiring a housekeeping service. The house was clean, the food was great, and both Natalie and Grandma were happy. But then, Ed's dad got angry for some reason and canceled the service. I see. Outsourcing housework costs money. Moreover, if Harry seemed proud that they had the housekeeping service 5 times a week, providing a clean environment and fresh meals. Probably Tom was paying, so Harry didn't worry about the cost. It makes sense why Tom was asking for money. Mirabelle, long time no see. Ali was there with Harry, joining the conversation. She probably thought Harry couldn't get to the point. Like, housework is your job, right? You abandoned it and ran away from home. You should be the one paying for the housekeeping service, Ali said, followed by a chuckle. But you, with no income, can't afford it, right? Impossible, huh? Sorry. So, how about coming back and doing your job? You're a full-time housewife, aren't you? I'm not coming back. I'm planning to divorce Dad. What? Divorce? Then who's gonna do the housework? Ali's voice was tense. Getting a divorce at your age, just before turning 60. That's unrealistic. You should just swallow your pride and come back. What happened to you? You want me to come back? I asked, genuinely curious. Ali hesitated to respond. Instead, Harry spoke up in a pitiful tone. It's been 2 weeks since the housekeeping service stopped coming. The call switched from audio to video. I was shocked at what I saw. The place is a mess. Cushion behind a slumped Harry, there were scattered wrapping papers of fast foods and takeout containers. Somehow laundry piled on top of them. Natalie was swatting at something with her hand, indicating flies were buzzing around. I expected some mess, but this was a disaster. Oh my... Mom, please come back, Miss Harry pleaded in a whiny voice. But my heart remained icy. Was I a failure as a mother for not feeling sorry for my son? Oh, right. I quit being a mother. I remembered and felt a sudden relief. Harry, did you forget? I quit being your mom. If you want it cleaned up so badly, do it yourself. That's harsh. I don't even know how to begin cleaning this mess now. Well then, why don't you hire that convenient housekeeping service again? But of course, with your own money, stop relying on your parents forever. That's impossible, Harry said, shrinking in on himself. In a barely audible voice, he confessed, I don't have any money. What? Well, moving back home meant I didn't have to worry about living expenses, right? Her dad's working, so I figured I didn't need to work either. Dad always used to say that a child's job is to play. I couldn't understand Harry's reasoning and just shook my head in confusion. Natalie was the first to react. You quit your job? You're the real leech here. How dare you mock your mother like that? For the first time, I found myself agreeing with Natalie. Harry, perhaps feeling a bit guilty, shrank even more. Then all the more reason for you to do the housework. Kelly, it's totally fine nowadays for a woman to earn while the man takes care of the home. Pick cute lunches for Natalie so she can work hard. I used to do it for you, right? Now it's your turn. Harry, with a puzzled look, furrowed his brows and he muttered, "Get cute lunches." I used to make lunches that were photo-worthy for you and Natalie. Heart-shaped carrots, apple peels in a checkered pattern. It was a lot of hard work, you know. What are you talking about? You never made me lunches. What? I glanced at Natalie, who awkwardly averted her eyes. What do you mean? Natalie, I used to make both yours and Harry's lunches every morning. That's what happened to those lunches. Well, that's because of Natalie, grinning sheepishly, looked like she was hiding something. Answer me honestly, as I raised my voice. Natalie clicked her tongue, clearly annoyed at being scolded by someone she deemed inferior. I was giving them to a guy at work, okay? What's the big deal? Harry turned out to be such a loser for quitting his job, so it's only natural I looked at someone else. I'm not at fault. Out of knowing about Harry being unemployed only just now, that excuse doesn't hold up, does it? Natalie bit her lip in frustration. You even cheating? Natalie had married Harry, older and seemingly indulgent. It seemed like she saw me as a housemaid and Tom as a piggy bank, content with an easy life, yet not wanting to let go of her young love interest. Her idea was to balance a stable family life with an exciting romance. Do you still love me? Tweety, stay away from me. Cheating's a lie, right? It's only me, right? Natalie? As Harry approached Natalie with a crazed look. These two, each with their own secrets, were in a way perfect for each other. Don't touch me, you freeloader. What did you say, you floozy? I'm your husband. I won't tolerate infidelity. The two began to scuffle, tumbling over into the trash-strewn room. Natalie's pretty face was smeared with some kind of sauce. Eventually, the smartphone fell with a loud noise, and the screen, probably showing the floor, went dark. Over from there, near screams of anger could be heard. Don't act so high and mighty, you leech. I'm not the bad one. They were fighting amidst the trash, becoming a part of it themselves. Later, I was about to bring it up when Tom unexpectedly handed me the divorce papers first. He couldn't bear the idea of being the one dumped by his wife. I thought Harry and Natalie might divorce too, but they apparently chose to rebuild their relationship. Turns out, Natalie got dumped by her guy. She told him, "Let's get married after all." Get married after leaving me, but he just quit his jaws and disappeared. Hey, it was all just a game to him. Natalie was always just that kind of woman. Harry reported this to me with evident glee. However, just days after this report, Harry, Natalie, and Tom showed up at my parents' house. For some reason, Harry was dragging Tom along as if forcing him to come. "Give back the money you took from Dad." Harry's expression was unusually harsh. I was confused and couldn't respond. "Did you know, Mom, that Dad, this guy, was unemployed?" Unemployed. As Harry forcefully pushed Tom, he fell into the doorway, devoid of any dignity. "He retired early last year. He could have worked another 5 years. Quitting like that is just crazy." I was shocked. Tom had maintained the same routine for decades. Dressed in a suit, leaving the house at the same time every morning. Sometimes he even had overtime or went out for drinks. Above all, he was providing the living expenses. The living expenses came from the retirement money. Retirement money. That's supposed to be saved for old age. I worked enough. I wanted to be free. "So, you wanted freedom. Well, dumping the burden of your mother-in-law on me, you enjoyed your freedom?" Tom hung his head, defeated. Harry, fuming, continued, "That's why you need to return the money you took when we divorced." "What are you talking about? I haven't received any money from him. We've been struggling with the property settlement." "Then why is Dad so broke? He said you took the money." "It's obvious. He spent it all himself. He quit his job last year, right? Where was he spending his time during the day?" The answer was the casino. Having time on his hands, he tried his luck at a casino and won big. He got hooked and started going every day. Of course, he didn't make any profit, and his money just vanished into the machines. "It can't be. It's a lie. It's my money. Is it wrong for me to use it?" "Of course it's wrong. That's why we're in trouble now." Overwhelmed, as Harry couldn't really contribute to the conversation, so Natalie, looking annoyed, explained the current situation. "Grandma fell. She's in the hospital now. I thought that my mother-in-law would struggle without me, but apparently she was quite happy. She managed to walk to the bathroom next to her room and avoided outings that required assistance, even stopped bathing. Annalie apparently complained several times about the smell, but it seems the person in question wasn't bothered by it. No one approached her smelly room. They just threw in food, and she lived a cycle of eating and sleeping. And the convenience store meals were so delicious. She was thrilled. Your food was terrible, after all. But as a result, my mother-in-law's illness worsened, and she was hospitalized. I wonder if she was happy or unhappy, having been able to eat junk foods at her will, in her last days of freedom? It's Mom's fault, Tom said quietly, then finally opened up his true feelings and burst out. Mom is to blame. She inherited all of Dad's estate. She's old and won't last long. But she's gone. All that money is mine. Why work hard when I'll soon inherit a fortune? That's why I quit my job. Should I just leave quickly? But she's probably too overwhelmed to even think of that. Mirabel, I'm not your family anymore. Ellie's face froze in despair, as if pushed into an abyss. I've always been a stay-at-home mom, but luckily, I found a job quickly. It's in caregiving. After returning home, I was initially down, not knowing what to do next. I felt helpless living alone. Then my mother advised, use your experience. Mirabel's life wasn't wasted. I can clean. I can cook. I can do caregiving. When I thought about it, I realized I had many skills. Ending up, I'm almost 60, and here I am, embarking on a completely different life. Ever imagined that? What are you talking about? You're still in your 50s. To me, that's young, very young. I envy your youth, my mother said, munching on her breakfast steak. Though I'm younger, my mother is more energetic. And for years being near her, I feel like I'm receiving some of her energy. Ituri, I might have given up being a mother myself, but the presence of a mother is so warm and comforting. Without being overly dependent, I want to maintain a good relationship with her.